Alright, let's talk about raids. We're going to talk about the Hambrabi, which got recently buffed. A lot of raids at 600 cost got buffed. I don't know why all of a sudden they did, but here we are. The Hambrabi has a very large amount of quality of life buffs that set it apart. Most notably, a new weapon, the Hambrabi beam rifle, which is actually just a Marasai beam rifle. It is an instant stagger, which is something the Hambrabi desperately needs because without charging the Fedayeen rifle, it had no way of instantly staggering suits, and so it was struggling against suits that had high amounts of damage control. Now we have an instant stagger, so that things like the Palace Athene are much easier to stagger. The Hambrabi has level 3 maneuver armor. It has melee combo 3, or 3 melee combo. It has double roll. It has Pursuit Aux melee, Aerial melee, and a D-transformation optimizer. Here's the setup I have for it. Max beam, near max melee res, just some basic stuff. I don't think the Hambrabi needs too much in the power department. Mostly want to get its defenses up because as a raid, you're going to get shot a lot, and your only goal is to get to the support, which you're going to one-shot anyway. So let's go over this. The Fedayeen rifle is a mainstay in all of GBO2. So many suits have the Fedayeen rifle, prototype or not. Over here we're going to find one of the biggest reasons why the suit got buffed, the Palace Athene. So the Fedayeen rifle, that's 50-50, and it overheats in 3 shots. You can only fire 2 shots before it overheats. So this guy right here, the Palace Athene, 3 shots does not stun the Palace Athene. It does a lot of damage, but it doesn't stun it. You have to use the charge shot to stagger it because it doesn't have, it doesn't have any actual stagger resistance besides crouching, like so. And then you go for a combo after that. But now we have the Marasai beam rifle, which is an instant stagger. The Marasai beam rifle, or the I guess the Hambrabi beam rifle, is just an instant stagger. It's literally just an instant stagger. 300 meters range, very long cooldown time of 5.5 seconds, and has a stagger value of 10%. So it's literally just there to stagger things that to keep the chain going. So something like this would be something we do. We do charge rifle, regular rifle, sea snake. Something like that. Try it again on this here DJ. Double tap, chain, sea snake. Something like that. That's your bread and butter. So keep in mind that the Fedayeen rifle overheats in 3 shots. That means that things of DC 1 and under are able to be stunned by you. It's like this like a plant over here. It has DC 1. 3 shots will do it, but once again, your rifle gets overheated. The Fedayeen rifle has a pretty long range of about 450 meters, so it will be able to fight at ranges in on military base, which is good. You can participate in peak shooting like this. And I didn't get the stun for some reason, the chain for some reason. What's wrong with me? And it has 3 melee weapons, although 2 of them are just there for infinites or otherwise. The sea snake is really good. The sea snake is a heavy stagger. Peek shoot, peek shoot, peek shoot. Snake. And because of the pursuit melee aux, the Fedayeen saber and the beam saber downswing will do a lot of damage. Snake. Something like that. Since we're on the topic of raids with multiple combos and multiple melees, we can go over infinites one more time. I didn't go over it for when we were in the Zaku 3, I just showed it. But something like this. for the Hambrabi, because the Fetty and Saber's cooldown is so long, you have to do side, neutral, side, neutral, side, neutral, side, neutral. Of course, you have the Sea Snake, so I suppose you would eventually just do a Sea Snake and then get it over with. Something like that. But yeah, so you can't do an infinite. Hambrabi has a transformation. During a transform mode, you still have to use the regular Fetty. It's not like the gap play where you have a different rifle for when you're transformed, so the quality of life is not there. But it gains access to a second gun. It's the back beam rifle ×2. It does 25 per shot, and it can be shot while you're boosting. So it's a pretty good weapon to use to gain some traction. So it can even stun the Palace Athene, so it's a very good weapon. And then of course, ram attack. There's ram attack. So you have access to a second gun if you're willing to do transformations within your combos. Let's go over. Let's try a. Here's an example of what you can do with the Hambrabi from a long range. Something like this. Flight combos are a little tough, but for the most part, all you have to do is get that ram attack, de-transform, and then stay on the offensive. Hambrabi does have aerial melee program, but like with all suits that don't have flat boosters, aerial melee is actually quite difficult to utilize properly. So if you transform, you just do that. You can also do it after jumping. So to recap, Fetty rifle is 50%. A lot of 50% around here. Overheats in 3, so it can't stun things with DC 2. It cannot stun the Zaku 3. It can't stun the Palace Athene. For the Zaku 3, you're going to have to utilize the Sea Snake, which is your heavy stagger, or you're going to have to utilize your back beam rifle and stun it that way, and then get away from it. Or you're going to have to meet it in close combat. That's probably your only option when you're fighting the Zaku 3. Otherwise, I would just stay away from it. You have the ability to fly away and move around and poke as you will. So make your way to the support, poke them. Get a ram attack, chain some stuff. Get long melee combos. You should be able to utilize this suit pretty well if you know what you're doing.